Imagine a 25,000-seat open-air stadium which will be NYC's first venue dedicated to pro soccer. While it may not compare to the big stadiums in Europe, it's still a pretty significant step for the Big Apple. I mean, think about it. NYCFC, which won the MLS Championship in 2021, currently plays home games at Citi Field or Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. This team obviously needs a place to call home. Stick around to the end, because this is something you've never seen in the world of football. It all started when the media buzzed with various headlines about the approval of a $780 million stadium. This seemed like the ideal opportunity for the New York City Football Club to finally have a home turf. But before we dive into the details, we need to understand how things came to be and what benefits this brings the city as a whole. Does New York need another stadium? The first question should be, does New York actually need another stadium? I mean, there's Citi Field and Yankee Stadium. In fact, it'll interest you to know that the teams always use these facilities to host home games since their inception back in 2013. But something quite surprising happened in 2021. New York City FC lifted their first trophy in the club's history by defeating the Portland Timbers on penalties to win the MLS Cup. The atmosphere was electric, especially since New York was up against a team that previously hoisted the trophy in 2015. But beyond just winning the trophy, there were also growing thoughts that it was high time the team got home turf. Even though they had Yankee Stadium and Citi Field, neither of these venues is a dedicated soccer stadium. As if that weren't enough, the lack of a dedicated stadium has been more than just a logistical nightmare. But owning a stadium comes with far more perks than you might realize. That brings us to the practical sense of why teams should have their own stadiums. You see, as the financial landscape of football evolves, clubs are increasingly focused on the economics of stadium redevelopment to secure their financial future and strengthen their global reputation. This strategic shift goes beyond designing visually appealing stadiums. It's about turning them into valuable assets that drive substantial economic benefits for both the clubs and their communities. One major trend in this area is the investment in advanced infrastructure that extends the stadium use beyond just football matches. So when you think about it, owning a stadium is a game changer. Think of all those juicy revenue opportunities, naming rights, hospitality, and countless others. Considering locations for the new stadium. When New York City FC started looking for a place to build their new stadium, they checked out several spots around the city. Each location had its own pros and cons, which made the choice even tougher. One of the first places they considered was the Bronx. Now, this is a place known for its rich sports culture when it comes to the Yankees and the Knicks. The area's easy access to public transport would make it convenient for fans going to the games. But finding a suitable piece of land that was both available and big enough for a stadium was a challenge. There were also concerns in the community about the need for open spaces and how a stadium might affect local neighborhoods. So again, the search began at Randall's Island, that's located between Manhattan, the Bronx, and Queens, and that popped up on the radar. The island's got plenty of open space and is known for hosting sports events. It seemed like a good spot, but getting there could be difficult. Without easy subway access, many would struggle to reach the stadium without driving. Flushing Meadows Corona Park was another option. The park is famous for its beauty and home to the U.S. Open tennis tournament. Building the stadium here could create a larger sports area, but local residents were concerned about how a new stadium might impact the park and the environment. They wanted to protect the green space, so there were worries about construction in this beloved area. Then there's the Brooklyn Navy Yard, a historic area that's become a hub for businesses and innovation. At least it had good transport links that would make it easily accessible for fans. However, there were concerns about whether a stadium would fit well with the existing community, and residents worried about potential traffic and noise during games. Then there was Gowanus, and it was the same old story. Although they had seen some improvements, residents were cautious about the possible impact on their neighborhood. At some point, the hunt for NYCFC Stadium seemed to have come to an end when the New York Times titled an article, "Hunt for New York City's FC Stadium site is back where it began, the Bronx," suggesting that the search was over. The plan included not just a soccer field, but also a park, hotel, affordable apartments, offices, a school, and retail spaces. However, by October 2021, talks between the Yankees and the city fell apart over a disagreement about parking, and community support for the project faded too. After a couple back and forths, NYCFC chose Willets Point as the location for their new stadium, and it seemed like things were starting to finally fall into place. Willets Point Overview. Willets Point, which is located in Queens, was once known as the Iron Triangle due to its many auto repair shops and junkyards. The area had poorly maintained streets with no running water or sewage, and only one permanent resident. City planner Robert Moses called it an eyesore and said that redevelopment had been a goal for mayors since the 1950s. Efforts to improve Willets Point started when Mayor Bloomberg got approval for a $3 billion project back in 2012, which included a massive redevelopment plan. Even though a lawsuit delayed the progress, the plan picked up again during Mayor Bill de Blasio's time when a task force was created in 2018 with local leaders. In January of 2019, the city announced 2 development plans for the area, one of which included a soccer stadium with up to 25,000 seats. This stadium would be near Citi Field and share parking. Although the proposal didn't mention NYCFC by name, it got people talking about a possible link, especially since the developers were also tied to plans for another soccer field. The unique challenges. But you see, building a stadium in New York City came with its own challenges. The city is working hard to change its relationship with energy, looking at how it's generated, stored, and then used. For this vision, the new stadium had to be completely sustainable and eco-friendly. But what's even worthy of note here is that it took a lot of convincing to show the city that these sustainable goals would be met. Willets Point, with its history as an industrial wasteland, seemed like a good choice but came with its own challenges. The area had serious environmental contamination, which meant removing nearly 200,000 tons of polluted soil. So a thorough cleanup was essential. The real costs and benefits of the project added another layer to the approval process. Having a flashy new stadium, that's one thing, but getting everybody on board with the investment took some serious effort. After seeing all the challenges this project faced, you might wonder how any construction could get started. However, one thing you should know about New Yorkers is that when they set their sights on something, they make it happen. NYCFC's $780 million new home. It all started on November 16, 2022, when the media became abuzz with reports that the new $780 million NYCFC stadium finally got approved and it'll be built next to the Mets' home. The project is fully funded by Citi Football Group and NYCFC. They secured a 49-year lease from the city at $4 million a year, which comes with a tax break on the real estate. However, estimates suggest that taxpayers could face a total cost of $516 million over the lease term due to the lost property tax revenue. NYCFC gathered the best of the best to handle this project, more like stadium building superheroes. Key players making this dream a reality are the architectural firm Hawk, known for designing major sports venues, and Turner Construction Company, a big name in construction. They're also working with the Queens Development Group to improve the area around the stadium. The groundbreaking ceremony this year kicked off construction. The stadium is set to open before the 2027 season, and that lines up well with the U.S. co-hosting the FIFA World Cup in 2026. But there's more to this stadium than just being a $780 million project. The 25,000-seat stadium features a sleek, modern design that creates an exciting atmosphere for fans. One of the standout features is the main entrance called the Cube that'll be 7 stories tall and feature 3 big screens on top and both sides. These screens will have over 11,000 feet of LED lights capable of showing videos, photos, and graphics tailored for game days, plus art and displays throughout the rest of the year. The entrance will be located at the southwest side, close to transit access and parking. Inside the stadium will have a 40,000 square foot 5 boroughs food hall with a variety of local food vendors from each of the 5 boroughs. This stadium will be the first fully electric stadium in MLS and the first fully electric pro sports stadium in the Big Apple. It's going to have many sustainable features, including solar panels on the roof, construction materials sourced locally to cut down on transport emissions, and a water harvesting system that collects rainwater for irrigation. But it's one thing to be a host city for a nearly $1 billion stadium project, and another to feel the impact of the stadium. So, just how will it impact the local economy? First up, the project will bring $2,500 affordable housing units, making it the largest development of its kind in New York City since the 80s. If this isn't a game changer, we really don't know what is. I mean, for a city facing a serious housing crisis, this is really huge. On top of that, there's a social boost with plans for a 650-seat public school to ease the pressure on crowded local schools. A strong message that investing in kids' education matters, and they deserve a proper place to learn without overcrowding. The project will create over 40,000 square feet of open public space, giving residents areas to relax and enjoy. This will turn Willets Point from an old industrial site into a vibrant urban area. Financially, it's estimated to bring in over $6 billion worth of impact across the next 30 years and provide 15,000 construction jobs and provide 1,500 permanent jobs. Now that's incredible. To think that the impact of this project reaches far and even holds a place in MLS history is just mind-blowing. Building this stadium is a big move for NYCFC in creating its own identity in New York, a city that loves their sports teams to have a strong, unique connection to the community. Till now, NYCFC has been linked with its larger parent organization, Citi Football Group, and has shared a stadium with the Yankees. Having their own stadium in 2027 won't completely change all that, but will help NYCFC feel more like a truly local team. However, beyond establishing their own identity, the new stadium will also impact NYCFC's city rivals. There's no doubt that the NYCFC will be the biggest benefactor of a new stadium. But do you know that their intra-city rivals could also stand to gain? Moving to Queens will make NYCFC's games more accessible for fans in Queens, Brooklyn, and Long Island. Plus, the trip to Red Bull Arena might become more appealing for Manhattanites who realize it's closer than they thought. Come to think of it, a smaller 25,000-seat stadium could even create ticket demand, giving both NYCFC and the Red Bulls a chance to grow their fan bases in new ways. And if that's not enough, the Willets Point Stadium will be the top choice for international soccer events. Its location in New York City, which is 2 miles from LaGuardia Airport, makes it perfect for hosting global competitors and friendlies, which could potentially attract both fans and international teams easily. As you can see, the new $780 million stadium is more than just a sports infrastructure. It's a major stride in both economic and cultural growth. Now, head to the comments and tell us what you like about NYC's Cube Soccer Stadium. We're committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more visionary builds.